Do you want to get really good on your musical instrument? In this video, I'll be demonstrating the 6 steps to success. I'll be doing it on piano, but to be honest, it works on pretty much any musical instrument. Guaranteed. This is not a trick, it's absolutely real. Now let's be honest, the improvement in your playing is actually dependent on you using these ideas that are coming up in the video. It's easy! And here's that guarantee. If you don't use the ideas, then you can't benefit from them. But if you do use the ideas, then you can and most likely will benefit from this fantastic program. These tips specifically help your rate of progress so that you'll improve much, much faster, so you'll save tons of time. Help you to play much faster, so you'll sound much better, much more professional standard. So if you want to achieve great results as quick as possible, this is the exact video series for you. Starting today with these great practice hacks, these 6 steps to success. Hey friends, David Jones here from Presto Music School. I hope you're very well. If you're new to our channel, if you like what you see, please do consider hitting the subscribe button and that alert notification so you can keep in touch with all our videos. Okay, on with the show, here we go. Now, each of these steps is really, really important, so make sure you follow every single one. 1. Setup. Number 1, setup. Not particularly cool sounding, but it's vital before we start the really, really cool stuff. It's not necessarily what you play that your audience perceives as a professional sound, but it's more like how you play. Technique is how you play each note and how you get from that note to the next note. It's how firmly and how clearly you play each note. For example, on piano and guitar, it's about how each hand plays in relation to each other. Is your right hand too loud? Is your left hand too loud? Now that's a lot to think about. So you need to do anything and everything you can to help the whole process of practicing much easier. So making sure that you set up first is all about getting focused on your practice before you even start. That way you'll get the very best out of every single second that you sat at your instrument. So you're going to need a quiet and calm room without any interruptions. It's no good having your phone bleeping away with twit face alerts and Snapstagram beats. Turn it off! Turn the TV off, get yourself in a comfortable room with your instrument. Maybe even open a window, get some fresh air in. Tell the folks in your house that you're going to be busy for a bit and don't disturb you, yeah? Thank you. Hey, I'm just going to do some practice for a bit, about half an hour, so if you could not disturb me for a bit, that'd be great. Most appreciated. Thanks very much. Thank you. Thanks. Cheers. Bye. Yeah, no worries. What a polite guy. Save time. Make sure that your instrument is ready. It is so much easier if your instrument is out and ready to play, but you've got to look after it. Don't leave your guitar out, even if it's on a stand, especially if it's likely to get sat on by darling little Billy like he did to your laptop last week. But if you can leave your instrument somewhere safe and accessible, then you're going to save time tuning it up, setting it up, all that kind of stuff. You don't want to be wasting time setting a drum kit up for 4 hours only to then go and do 10 minutes practice on it and then put it all away. That is not an efficient use of time. Practice at the best time of day for you. Your brain will be at its best. If you're not a morning person, it's no good doing your practice first thing in the morning, trying to do some killer riffs if your brain is still asleep. Also, try and practice at the same time every day. And if you do that, that helps with the timetabling, which means that you're actually more likely to do it. Now here's a really important point which we'll see more of in step 2, which is if you're playing any kind of instrument which is seated, like a drum kit or a piano, make sure that your stool is at the right height. Or if you need a strap, make sure that you spend a few minutes getting the perfect length for you. An extra 3 minutes now getting the stool at the right height or the strap the right length might seem like a bit of a waste of time now, but you'll be a lot more comfortable today and you'll be a lot more comfortable tomorrow as a result, and every other day. So in general, you'll be more comfortable, so you'll do much better work in the practice. This means you'll feel better, so you'll practice better, so you'll progress faster. Now, sit at your instrument or hold your instrument the exact same way every time. Sit at it if it's a piano or a drum kit, or hold it the same way if it's a guitar or set of bagpipes. When I sit at the piano, I sit directly in front of middle C, first of all, so I know exactly where that is, so therefore I know where all the other notes are in relation to me and each other. Now don't worry if you can't find these notes without looking just yet. Keep practicing and you will, especially if you keep sitting at the same place or holding your instrument in the exact same way every single time you practice. Now this position may change a little bit depending on the piece, but generally this is a great tip to help speed up the learning process. All the notes will be in the exact same place relative to each other and you, and your hands, and your fingers. Here's another great tip. If you're reading music, make sure that you've got enough light and that the music is right in front of you. When I was a kid, that was a long time ago, I used to have the exact same lamp over my sheet music, which was put in the same place every single time. This meant that every single time I practiced, everything looked and felt exactly the same way. And that greatly helps with muscle memory, which we'll look at in future videos. So, step 1 for success, set up. Step number 2.
2. Sit up straight.
So the way that you sit or stand is called your posture. If you're hunched over a little, then the muscles in your neck and your back have to work harder to keep you balanced. And now your head is heavy. An adult head can weigh up to 5 kilograms. That's about as heavy as a large cat. So if you're not sat up straight or stood up straight, your muscles have to work harder, and that is tiring. So you need to support your head in the best way possible. Sit up straight. This way you'd be more comfortable. You didn't notice that you were playing and practicing for even longer because you didn't get as tired, and you felt better all the time whilst you were practicing.
3. Seesaw.
Step 3, seesaw, or the connection of notes. Okay, I'm going to refer directly to piano now, but you can use this vital tip just by transferring the basic idea onto pretty much any instrument. When you play from one note to the next on a piano or other keyboard instrument, you want to start with what we call a legato technique. Legato is an Italian term meaning to play smoothly. And in particular here, we're talking about how you get from one note to the next note. So again, just specifically talking about piano or other keyboard instruments here for a second. We're talking about playing the first note, that goes down. Then when you play the next note, your first note has to come up. You'll notice that this second note here is going to go down at the exact same time as your first note comes up. So we're talking about a seesaw action. Now, why do we want this? If you play the first note and then your second note comes down whilst the first note is still down, you'll actually hear both at the same time on a keyboard or a piano. That means that you're blurring the two sounds together, which is a useful technique later on. We'll actually use that specifically, but for now, playing scales and exercises, let's go for this seesaw technique, swapping smoothly one from the other. Obviously, the most important thing about all this is the sound. I'm going to play the first note. Now, I don't let go of that until the exact time that I go to play the second note. And you can see that obviously I'm swapping seesaw action from one note to the next, but most importantly, that note sound doesn't finish until the exact time that this one starts. So there's a smooth transition from one sound to the next. There's no gap between this sound and this one. And as I go up the scale, you'll hear the same thing. A seesaw action from the first note to the second, and then a seesaw action from the second to the third, seesaw action from the third to the fourth note of the scale, and so on. And that's true whether you're playing scales or other exercises. Or the opposite of that is whereby you play the first note and then let go of it and then play the next note. And that means now you've got a gap in between the two. So that's not a smooth connection from one note to the next note. You want legato, or this seesaw technique from one to the other. Concentrate on that. That's very, very important.
4. Strong.
Step 4. Now, you need to stay completely relaxed for this. When we say playing with a firm tone, we mean playing loud or forte to give its more traditional musical Italian term. Now don't go mad. I'm not talking about blasting next door's shed down with volume. I'm not talking about the actual volume of the music. I'm talking about how loud and how strongly and how confidently you are playing. Don't just go and turn the volume up on the amp. Don't just go and turn up the volume on your keyboard. I'm talking about how strongly and firmly you are playing your instrument. Of course, this is all true for acoustic instruments as well. Aim for a beautiful balance between strong, confident playing but without sounding too harsh. So, the more firmly that you play, the more clearly your brain, your eyes, your ears and your fingers all begin to understand the music because you're drilling it in more firmly. By being more decisive and firm with each note, you are explaining to your body more clearly how to perform the music. And that's why we must fix our mistakes as we go along. Now, please do make sure that you check out our other video, performance practice versus rehearsal practice. But whatever you do, don't practice your mistakes. So what happens if you don't practice decisively? I'll show you what I mean. So imagine that you're playing now, and you're playing, but you're being a little bit more... You see what I mean? If your fingers are just sort of... that's what's going into your brain. What's going into your brain and your ears and your eyes is this version... and it all becomes slurred. You're not being decisive. Whereas if you're playing this, then this, then this, then this, and you are slowing it right down and playing everything nice and slow and steady. Doesn't matter how slow it is, just get it right. If it's going wrong, stop, find out what the problem is, fix the problem and move on slowly, practicing that little section again, nice and slowly, till you get it right.
5. Steady.
Your timing is super important if you want a professional sound. Of course you want to hit the right notes, but you want to hit them at the right point in time too. And if you do that, then you lock perfectly your playing into the beat of the music. Now to do this, you need to practice playing so that you've got perfect control over when you hit each note. So, practicing exercises such as scales along to drums or a metronome will massively help your ability to play in time because you're going to stick to that beat. The link to our metronome tracks are in the description and also in our playlists of the channel. Playing your pieces or scales to a metronome is an easy enough idea, but just to demonstrate, let's set the metronome going. And to play in time, I need to listen to the speed of that beat first, count myself in. Whether you count yourself in your head or out loud, it doesn't matter. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, of course, you can speed up to the next metronome setting, play the exact same thing, as long as it's perfect, speed up to the next one, and so on. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you're enjoying the show so far. You could even share our videos. Go on, live a little.
6. Speed.
Now let me tell you something that's going to save you potentially years of practice to get you to that excellent level that you're looking for. And this is a huge tip. The best way to play faster and faster and faster? Yep, slow it down. What? Don't speed up. Yeah. Keep it nice and slow and steady. First of all, to start off with, keep it nice and slow. If you're making a mistake, any kind of mistake, whether it's in the notes, whether it's in the rhythm, anything like that at all, if you practice that, you're practicing the mistake, so you're getting much better at playing it wrong. So we need to stop this. You don't want to get better at playing your music with mistakes in. That's what you're doing when you're practicing it if you don't fix those mistakes. So play everything really slowly first to get it right. Get it right as soon as you can. If it's going wrong, stop. Small section. And now, perhaps along with one of those metronome tracks, play it to a steady beat, maybe a small section, maybe 1 bar or 2 bars, a very small section of the music along to that metronome. And then speed it up by a smallest amount. And if you just go up a level, go on to the next metronome video, for example, or use a drum track and just sneak the tempo up a little bit. Because you're going up in tiny increments, then you shouldn't really notice much difference when you come to play it. But the difference will be that it should be correct each time. And if you make a mistake at some point, stop at that tempo, play it again. Look, if it's going wrong, just bring it back down to the tempo before. Make sure that's okay. Take it up, to the next tempo up, and hopefully if that's okay, play that a few times and then sneak up to the next tempo again. And this of course works for whether you're talking about scales, arpeggios, pieces, exercise, whether you're talking about electric guitar, acoustic guitar, Tibetan nasal flute, banjo, Argentinian throat kazoo. Banjo. And why would you do this? Well, you're going to get better, but exactly how much better are you getting? How can you measure your progress? Well, students at Presto Music School, and indeed many other great schools around the world, sit formal exams, and then of course they get the official recognition for the level that they're at. But if you're not sitting exams, then how else can you measure success? Well, we can do that in the tempo at which we can play correctly each of our exercises and pieces. So long as you've stuck to the techniques in this video and you are playing correctly, then the tempo that you're playing each of the exercises at is a perfect measure of your success, progress and improvement. Don't forget to use those metronome links in the playlists of our channel to measure the progress and speed at which you can play your exercises. And we have an awesome exercise called speed scales, which we use in all our music schools. The video that guides you through that is also available in the description. So you're looking for speed scales, great exercise. And how do we know all this stuff? Well, we are Presto Music School. We've taught literally tens of thousands of people of all ages, ranging from complete beginners to degree level and beyond. At this point in time, we have schools all over the northwest of England, Manchester, Liverpool, Warrington, North Wales. But you can learn from us wherever you are through YouTube, so please do subscribe. And if you wanted to, you can even get hold of a copy of our piano and keyboard course, which is recognised by the London College of Music, so it's world renowned. It's used in schools everywhere. Just follow the links at prestomusicschool.co.uk/shop. Well, that's it from me for today. Hope you've enjoyed the show. If you have enjoyed the show, then please do subscribe. And remember, if you don't use any of these ideas whatsoever, then you can't benefit from them. We'll see you all in the very next show. Cheers. If you're not a morning person, it's no good trying to If you're not a morning person, then don't go and do it first thing in the morning when your brain is still asleep. Practice at the best time of day for you. Your brain will be at its best. It's no good if you're not...